all right now. In my opinion, dude, there are a bunch of UFC fighters that get kind of unjustified hate or are disliked for essentially zero reason, which, listen, dude, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, okay? You don't have to like everybody. People like different stuff. People like different things. People like different people. If you don't like somebody for whatever reason, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? Perfectly fine. However, Aljamain Sterling, in my opinion, is not one of those people. I think that the hate this guy gets is completely and totally 100% justified because it's his own doing. He literally cannot help himself. He is one of the least likable people I've ever heard speak, and every time he opens his mouth, he makes that more and more apparent. And the funniest part about it is that Aljamain Sterling is not trying to be a heel. Aljamain Sterling wants to be liked by everybody. Okay, he has complained on multiple platforms, multiple different podcasts about the reception that he gets from the fans. And just when I thought he was starting to get a little bit more love, a little bit more respect now that we are removed from his title reign, okay, he just goes and shoots himself in the foot almost every time he opens his mouth, which he did post UFC 305 when speaking about Israel Adesanya and Dricus Du Plessis, okay? Because he said something at the end of this segment that is one of the dumbest things I've heard in my life, and he tries to act as though he is teaching you a lesson, okay, a history lesson, which he himself is completely unaware of, didn't even take the time to look into it. All it would have taken is a 5-second Google search to prove his own theory, I don't know what you want to call it, incorrect. And then he wouldn't have said something so unbelievably stupid. And listen, he could have actually made a point here, right? But he doesn't know the history. So it's funny that he would try to lecture somebody else on that. So we're going to play that from his video, as I said, the post-fight reaction video that he uploaded to UFC 305, where DDP obviously submitted Israel Adesanya. And then also I want to play this bit of audio from Aljamain Sterling, because not only did he say something unbelievably stupid here, he then went and accused his future opponent, right, that he is scheduled to fight, of steroids with literally zero evidence whatsoever. Okay, so we're going to get to that in a minute, but first I want to start off with this video that he uploaded, and then we will go from there.
Defends his belt in a very controversial, heated way between these two guys in Africa, and white, black. It was very toxic and messy.
It's really odd to me that there was a certain group of people, okay? And listen, dude, I'm not trying to be, whatever, but they all seem to look a certain way, that tried to make this about race, right? Aljamain Sterling just did it. It wasn't really about that. It got made about that by a select few people in the space, okay? And they all share something in common, which is fine, but I don't understand the pushing of this narrative is insane to me. It's like you just want to be able to complain about this kind of thing. It's a little bit of, dare I say, victim mentality, which, by the way, we have seen from Aljamain Sterling on multiple occasions, most notably, obviously, when he had to fight Sean O'Malley on 15 weeks notice. Okay, this is insane. Whenever you hear about a short notice opportunity, it's like, oh, he took the fight on 5 weeks, 4 weeks, or in Dan Igue's case, 3 hours. Aljamain Sterling complained about 15 weeks. We're talking over 3 months, people. Do you know what I mean? Or, when Aljamain Sterling took the illegal knee from Petr Yan, which got him his championship, which, listen, dude, he probably made the intelligent decision for his career in that very moment, at the very least for his bank account, right? But, this just seems to be a theme from a certain few UFC fighters, and it drives me a little bit nuts, but we will continue.
And I do hope people know a little bit of the history over in South Africa. Slavery was finally abolished or ended, whatever term you want to use, roughly, I think, 28, 29, 30 years ago.
Aljamain Sterling has a producer. Did nobody think to fact check this before you went and said it to your audience? Okay? And the worst part about it is that there are probably people that just take him at his word, okay? And are like, oh my God, that's horrible. This was so very easily debunkable, okay? Right? All you have to do is go look it up. It makes no sense to me why he wouldn't do that, why his producer wouldn't do that, why after they filmed the video knowing that he spoke on that, not just take the time to go check and then maybe cut this out or add in a little edit where, oh, hey, by the way, I said this, but I actually meant this, because he could have made a point, as I said. Now, when did slavery end in South Africa? Dude, January of 1834. 1834. Now, dude, you know, I'm not some math scholar here, but I don't think that was 30 years ago. Okay, we're talking almost 200 years ago, right? 190 years ago, to be precise, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, don't come at me if my math is incorrect. But you know, they banned the trade in 1807, and the slaves were emancipated in 1834. And you know what, dude? Look who did it. Look who did it. Do you know what I mean? Insane to me. Now, I'm assuming what Aljamain Sterling meant, and this is if I wanted to be charitable to Aljamain Sterling. Well, he meant apartheid, is what he meant, ended 30 years ago. However, dude, those two things are extremely different, which shows a lack of understanding, just point blank, period, when it comes to anything, okay, regarding this issue. And it was not even remotely similar to the slavery that ended nearly 200 years ago, okay? Aljamain Sterling. I hope people know a little bit about the history, but I don't. I hope people know a little bit about the history, so let me tell them incorrect history so that people that don't want to take the time to look it up can just go spew this shit out in the world, okay?
So I'm 35. To put that into perspective, I would have been born into slavery.
Bro, this is the ultimate form of victim mentality. You are giving incorrect historical facts and then going and placing yourself back then so you can say, I would have been born into slavery. By the way, okay, white people were not the only people that had slaves in South Africa or Africa, period. Okay, there are countries in Africa that still have slavery to this day. Okay, to quote the great Deontay Wilder, to this day. Okay, speak it, believe it, receive it. You've got to be kidding me, right? This victimhood mentality is fucking wild to me. Okay, you went and put yourself back. I would have been born into slavery. My family would. No, the fuck you wouldn't have. No, the fuck you wouldn't have, Aljamain Sterling. You want to know why, dude? Because you're not a vampire who's 190 years old that looks like a 35-year-old man. Okay,
My family could have possibly been born into slavery if we were over there. You know, so I could understand the animosity from Izzy, and I could understand the pride from DDP, but I'm just glad it's semi-resolved, and I hope that the country can find some peace. And
I just want to point this out. People keep saying this, and I don't get it. I understand why Izzy would be upset. Last time I checked, Izzy's not South African. Right? Last time I checked, Izzy's not South African. Okay? And just because he's born in... Dude, not every single African country is the exact same when it comes to these things. I don't get it. They just conflate the whole continent because that's what it is. Right? There are many different countries in Africa that are all very different from one another. Right? As I said, there are still countries in Africa that have slavery to this day. Right? Nigeria had slavery for way longer than South Africa. Why on earth would Izzy be upset about something that happened in a country that wasn't the one he was in or born in or has any relationship to literally whatsoever? It makes no sense to me at all. And it's based on a lack of historical knowledge from Aljamain Sterling, because all it would have taken is a very simple Google search to prove your own statement wrong, right? And you could have said apartheid ended 30 years ago. This is why it got heated. Although, again, Izzy's not from South Africa, so I don't know why that would affect him even in the slightest. But either way, let's move on to now Aljamain Sterling talking about his upcoming fight with Movsar Evloev, dude. And listen, this is a conversation that I see a lot of people talking about in the MMA space, is basically just accusing people of being on steroids. Look, I don't like doing that with no evidence. They get tested. Whether or not you think the testing is sufficient or not is a different conversation, I guess. But we have people that get tested, all of them, right? But we have only a few who test positive, and then they get suspended for those positive tests, right? So unless somebody has tested positive already, or we have like an overwhelming amount of circumstantial evidence. In other words, a guy grows a tit. right, in his 30s or something along those lines. Or we see a massive amount of like acne on somebody's back or something along those lines. You know what I mean? I don't just go offhandedly and accuse somebody of being on steroids. But Aljamain Sterling does. Apparently, this is a new thing that I've not heard Aljamain Sterling do before. And it seems as though he's trying to preemptively make excuses in case he loses, right? So we're going to play this bit of audio. Let me turn down the volume a bit because this shit is loud, okay?
Take a look at Aljamain Sterling calls out Movsar Evloev for using steroids. Aljamain Sterling and Movsar Evloev have been trading verbal shots for some time now, but now that they're booked to fight at UFC 307, it looks like their rivalry is ratcheting up. Case in point, recently the Funkmaster accused Evloev of being on steroids. If you follow our channel, you know that Sterling and Evloev battled via interview and...
Okay. Let's get to it, dude. Come on now. I didn't mean to play all of that.
will be Sterling's second sent to Evloev via...
I appreciate the MMA Zone because I couldn't find this clip elsewhere. I wasn't sure what podcast to go find it from, but, you know, I just want to hear the audio, so let's jump to that.
Opponent would never do this every...
accused the undefeated fighter of being on PEDs.
This is insane to me. He's about to say it. He's about to just flat out accuse him of being on steroids. I apologize there. I should have gotten the correct timestamp, but either way.
I would love to get tested every single day, but I know my opponent would never do the same because...
Okay, this is like a throwback to George St. Pierre versus Johnny Hendricks. Why are you trying to... Aljamain Sterling, you know damn well you guys get tested. You know damn well you do. It doesn't need to be every day. That's fucking unhinged. Okay? It's random testing. The guys show up. You have to piss in a cup. You get your blood taken. Whatever it may be. Right? Every single person on the UFC roster has agreed to this. So for him to act as though his opponent wouldn't agree to testing, wouldn't agree to extra testing, right? That would presumably come out of his own pocket, because the UFC already pays to get these guys tested. Why would the UFC pay to do it every single day? They wouldn't, right? So it would come out of his own pocket, his own time, his own training time. Why would he agree to that when he's already being tested, Aljamain Sterling? And why are you acting like Movsar Evloev wouldn't agree to get tested when he literally has, you know, because he's part of the UFC roster where they all get tested? Do you know what I mean? Odd.
Because I guarantee you my man is on something. But it's okay. I'm used to fighting guys who've been on gear.
I guarantee you my man has been on something. Well, do you have any evidence for this? Even just like a snitch that told you this information. You don't even need to give us his name. Just say an anonymous source told me this. Nothing, dude. Nothing.
It's just one of those things. Like Nate Diaz said, they're all on steroids, right?
Well, all would include you, Aljamain Sterling. All would include you. Hello? Fucking Jesus, dude. What? Why is this guy so dumb?
Right. So, may the better man win. I know I'm going to be the cleaner man.
I just want to point out he said cleaner, not clean. It's an odd choice of words. Now, I'm going to just be charitable. Aljamain Sterling, as you know, we've demonstrated in this video, is dumb. Right? He's dumb. So, maybe he didn't mean to choose that word. But saying like, oh, I'm going to be the cleaner guy makes it seem like, well, I'm on a little bit, but that dude's on a fuck ton. Right? Why wouldn't you say, I know I'm going to be the clean one in there? Listen, a little pedantic by me, but if I was trying to do what Aljamain Sterling is doing right here and accuse somebody else of being steroids, I would say, I know I'm going to be the clean one. That motherfucker ain't clean. Do you know what I mean? But he doesn't. He says cleaner, which is odd. So it's like, what bar have you set for yourself? Right? If Movsar Evloev is on a gang of shit and you're just on a little bit less shit, that's cleaner, right?
I know I'm going to get it done. I have no doubt in my mind. Even with you cheating, mentally, it just shows that you're weak.
And not.
He just pulled that out of his ass. Literally just pulled that out of his ass. And in my opinion, it's a preemptive excuse in case he were to lose. Because, you know, if he does lose to Movsar Evloev, he'll come on his podcast, he'll go do interviews, and he'll say, yeah, you know, I knew he was on shit, but whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? It's just annoying. And I don't understand it. Aljamain Sterling just loves to be the victim. And it's, as I said in the opening, it's not like this guy wants to be hated. Right? He's not trying to be the heel. He's not trying to be a Colby Covington. He's not trying to be a Henry Cejudo. He's not trying to be one of these guys that knows what I say is going to make a bunch of people hate me, right? If he got a bunch of flack for this, which I don't know if he did, but if he got a bunch of flack for what he said in this video, I don't know if people know the history, but, you know, slavery only ended 30 years ago. He would literally try to argue against why he's getting hate. He's done this, right? On Anakin Florian's podcast, he's done this everywhere. Almost any time he gets interviewed, when this kind of shit gets brought up. You know, why do you think the fans, blah, blah, blah. He gets upset about it. So, dude, Aljo, stop fucking talking if you can't not say something stupid or expect that you're going to get lit up and that fans are not going to like you for it, okay? It's really that simple. All you would have had to done was a simple Google search, okay? You could have even maybe devised a way to say, I think Movsar Evloev might be on shit. You could have done it a hell of a lot better than the way you did, right? Than just saying, I guarantee. You know what I mean? You could have, there's a way that you could have, you know, kind of like, I guess, low key or whatever, accused him of doing shit and not came off as such an idiot. But you're not capable of that level of thought, okay? You're not capable of it. I don't know what is underneath this thing, right? But it's a whole lot of gray matter. All right, dude? Anyways, like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I will see you at the next video. Bye-bye.